You and I.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy Mad Hatter Brody, and today I'm bringing another different video. No, we're not doing face cam today because it just makes my life so much easier if we don't. But today, I think I'd test my reading skills and hopefully bring an entertaining video for you guys. Today, we're going to be exploring r/letsnotmeet. This is basically creepy stories, and I mean, there's not really much you can say about it, really. Sit back, relax, join the show, and tell me what you think about it. So, last night I was at a classmate's house working on a group project we have due tomorrow. I live in an apartment in the town where our university is located, and my classmate lives at his parents' house, which is in the foothills just outside of town. In order to get to the house, you have to drive along a relatively secluded and narrow 2-lane road for about 5 to 6 miles. We started working on the project at about 6 p.m, and I ended up hanging around for a while after we had finished our working. So I left his house pretty late, about 11, and started down the road back towards town. I didn't realise how tough it would be to navigate the road at night. There were no street lights and the road was unkept and riddled with potholes. On top of this, I had no cell service, so I had to drive very slowly to make sure I didn't blow out one of my tyres, since I had used a spare a couple weeks back. I figure I was about 3 miles from the house when I rounded a tight corner and saw a pickup truck with a camper shell parked diagonally across the road. The manner in which it was parked completely impeded my path, and I couldn't drive around it because there was a gully on both sides of the road. The only way for me to go at this point was backward, where there was a pull-off that I could use to turn my car around. At first I couldn't see inside the cab, but when I turned my high beams on I saw that there was a man slouched over in the driver's seat, his head resting against the steering wheel as if he had been knocked out after a bad accident. I immediately sensed something was wrong. The way his car had just coincidentally come to rest in a position that totally blocked the road was a big red flag for me. I heard stories of people playing dead to lure unsuspecting people out of their cars so that they could rob them. I decided, fuck this shit, and elected to go back to my classmate's house and explain what was going on. I threw the car into reverse and kept my eyes darting back and forth between my rear view and the truck. I looked and saw that I was almost at the pull-off where I could turn around. When I looked back, my heart skipped about 5 beats. The man who had been slouched over in the driver's seat was now walking at my car at a hurried pace, while a few other men jumped out the back of the camper shell and started moving towards me as well. I panicked and accelerated backwards into the pull-off, which messed up the undercarriage of my car pretty bad. As I put it into drive, the guy was already at my passenger side door, tugging on the handle, which thank the Lord was locked. I only caught a brief glimpse of him, but his face appeared to be scabbed and leathery. Definitely a meth head or some sort of drug abuser. I sped away and didn't slow down at all until I reached the house, constantly checking my rear view to see if they were following. Thankfully, they didn't tell me. When I reached the house, I explained what had happened to my classmate. We called the cops. I was grateful that my buddy's parents were kind enough to let me stay the night. They didn't find anyone on the road matching the description, but I filed an incident report, and they told me that they would be on the lookout for similar vehicles and suspicious activity. But holy shit, I'm still shook up over it. I keep getting the same adrenaline rush I got when I saw the guy charging me whenever I think about it. Please share similar experiences you've had, and I would appreciate a good read or a good discussion to help clear my headspace. So, in my opinion, I think it's very, very lucky that this person just had like that intuition, that instinct to just get the fuck out of there. Who knows what would have happened if she didn't. I'm really happy that she fled, but man, that is some crazy shit. On to the next story. This happened maybe 10 years ago, when I was in my early 30s. I was standing in line at the local pharmacy to get my prescriptions. This was a small town and I am a regular there, so they know me on sight. I was behind a couple of other people in line, and there was a couple of people behind me. I kept feeling a tickle in my hair and the back of my head, but every time I looked behind me, the guy was a few steps back and looking at the floor. This happened several times by the time I was at the front of the line. The pharmacist told me that she wanted to talk to me about my medication in the consultation room they had at the time, since converted to a bathroom. I thought this was weird because we both knew I had been on this medication for years and would be for life. Nothing new. I get to the back room and close the door, and she comes in from the door at the other side that leads from the pharmacy. She told me that the man behind me had been stepping forward, sticking his nose in my hair and smelling before stepping back and looking at the floor. This shook me pretty badly as this was such weird behaviour, especially in my little town. The pharmacy staff insisted on having me wait there until the guy was distracted by another pharmacy employee, and they had a security guard walk me to my car and watch me drive off to make sure I was gone before Hair Sniffer came out and saw what I was driving and what direction I was going. I still use this pharmacy and some of the same people still work there. I will always be grateful that they took initiative to make sure I was safe that day. This is so messed up, and I'm so happy that their pharmacy just had that initiative to guide her out and make sure the guy was distracted. This is something that I think more places should be aware of and that I'd love to hear more stories about. I can't even imagine what it must have been like to be her. I've had people stand too close to me at times and I've just been utterly freaked out. I couldn't imagine what she was going through after finding out what this man was doing. Yesterday, something pretty crazy happened to me, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. My friend is from the UK, and she's an absolute doll. I love her to bits, but her parents are a little weird. Her father is a perv, always has been, around me and our other friends. We tried to avoid going to friend's house, but because she's located in the exact centre of the city, we always end up meeting her at her house before we go shopping, to the movies, or out to dinner. I am 16, will be 17 in July, and they are all 17 and 18. I will not go into much detail about the creepy things her father has done, but I can tell you that he has peeped into her bedroom while I'm changing into my swimsuit or my pyjamas several times. Pervy Dad has also done a few things to our friends, but he has always stayed in a reasonable deniability zone, where if we accuse him of peeping or getting too close or being too inappropriate, he can easily make us feel like the crazy ones. We actually thought we were all being overdramatic and paranoid until dinner one night at a restaurant, months ago when Friend was not present. Someone said, "Do you think Friend's dad is a little weird?" To which we all said yes. I thought it was just me. This is common. Men like this are despicable. They have a talent for picking on girls, manipulating them, and taking advantage of them. Her mother was either completely oblivious to her husband's actions, or thought that all men behaved that way around attractive teen girls, and that it was our fault for acting promiscuous. We are religious Jewish girls in Israel. We wear long skirts and uniforms to school, and we won't touch a light switch past 6 p.m. on a Friday. But yeah, of course we're trying to seduce your husband. Yesterday, Thursday, I realised that it was the latter. Friend has a pool in her house, and she invited me over to swim. I was hesitant, but she mentioned that her parents would be leaving soon, and that we could blast music and hang out, so I packed a bag and rode my bike on over to her house. When I arrived, her parents were still there. Apparently the appointment was rescheduled, so they decided to stay home for the evening. Pervy Dad and Crazy Mom were watching TV on the couch, and I thought that they wouldn't bother us. We're outside, and before we get into the pool, I put on sunscreen. I'm not wearing anything too crazy, just a plain pink bikini. Usually, I'm a little self-conscious, but I've been going to the gym every day and getting fit, so I felt good about myself. But after what happened yesterday, not anymore. Pervy Dad comes out, and while Friend is in the pool, he comes and sits next to me on the chair. He engages in light small talk, and I pray that he's just here to chat. The conversation turns a little inappropriate, but again, if I said something, he would have said that I was acting paranoid. That was until he asked me to smile for him, and if you're a girl, you know the kind of anger that request invokes. I said, "Excuse me, you're being very inappropriate. Please leave me alone." Very plainly but firmly. He told me that I didn't have to be so rude about it, that he just wished I would smile more because I was looking a little depressed, that it was immature of me to come into his house and shout at him. I wasn't even shouting. Crazy Mom hears the noise and comes outside. She senses attention, sees me in my bikini, and immediately turns red in the face. Pervy Dad and Crazy Mom go inside, and I continue lounging in the chair. A few minutes later, Crazy Mom comes outside with a few choice words to say. I was hoping she would apologise, and if she had been calm and respectful, I would have covered up and apologised. But the universe was not kind to me on that day. "If you're going to sit by my pool, dress like a slut, and then act all innocent when men flirt with you, you can leave my house, now." I was in shock. I had never had an adult speak to me so unkindly before, but I bit my tongue. She was Friend's mother, and I was not a troublemaker. I told her that I didn't mean any offence, but some of the things that Mr. Pervy Dad was saying to me made me uncomfortable, and I politely but firmly asked him to leave me alone. She started screaming at me. I didn't get all of it because I was in such a daze, but it was something about how her husband was a good man and that I was such a whore for trying to get him to sleep with me, that the only reason he was talking to me was because I looked depressed and he wanted to give me some company. I was ungrateful and I was rude and blah blah blah. She then raised her hand like she was going to slap me, and I flinched. This somehow made her more angry. I was escorted out of the door. She grabbed me firmly by the arm, still in my bikini, clutching my bag, my phone, my keys, while Friend watched from the pool. I haven't spoken to Friend since then. Oh well. Friend, I hope you can learn to realize that you don't have to behave the way your parents do. You can rise above that. All of us are here supporting you and loving you. And to Pervy Dad and Crazy Mom, I hope we never meet again. Oh my goodness. Now, I don't really know what TLDR means, but Friend's mum gets mad over her husband trying to hit on me. Damn, I decided to choose a longer one to end the video off today. But holy crap, that was just hitting to read. I couldn't imagine a person actually being like this at all. I wonder what you guys think about this. But that's the last reading from me, and I actually really had a lot of fun reading these stories, and also just getting to record it all. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more content, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video.